Welcome to the Theatre of Others podcast. My name is Adam Marple, and I'm the co-artistic director of the Theatre of Others. With the COVID-19 pandemic forcing a shutdown and reevaluation of space and gathering, we at the Theatre of Others are thinking about what stories we need and how best we can share them. We believe space is psychology, and it informs the way in which an audience interacts and reacts to what is presented to them. We create uniquely theatrical events in bespoke sensory performance spaces crafted to encourage curiosity and grant the audience permission to commune with the play. Now that that space has moved online, how can we encourage interaction and action amongst an audience virtually? The Theatre of Others produces plays that both welcome and challenge the audience. We are committed to international collaboration and are a laboratory that helps artists grow through intensive study of their craft. The Theatre of Others creates a shared community of artists and audiences for the purpose of exploring the most profound issues of our lives and times. We believe the play watches the audience. The audience is necessary, and they are witness to what happens. And you get to be witness to us making that happen. The purpose of this podcast is to open up our process and let you in. We're peeling back the curtain, so to speak, and encouraging you to follow along, to ponder, prod, and question, to join us and criticize us if need be. Being a witness is no passive task, and it requires much from you. Are you up for the journey? On the podcast today from Melbourne, Australia, are co-artistic directors Budi Miller and myself in Cairo, Egypt. This podcast contains explicit language.
Hi, Adam.
Hi, Budi.
How you going?
Oh, I'm still sickly, but I'm here.
You're all sniffly.
I'm all sniffly still, yeah.
But it's not the COVID.
It's not the COVID. It is not the gift that keeps on giving.
The gift that keeps on giving. Yeah. Well, I was out of power last night.
I saw you were showing me your romantic candlelight couch surfing.
Okay, so let's just talk about how my husband and I do not understand how to live without technology. It was really bad. I was so embarrassed. I literally was like, okay, so what do I do? And I was like, can I read by candlelight? And I was like, no, my eyes aren't that good. I don't want to read by candlelight. And then I was like, should I look at my iPad? It's like, no, but what if I run out of power? And then then I won't have power next day. And I sent out messages to y'all going, I know we're podcasting, but I don't know if I'm going to have power. It was the end of the world.
Yeah. True first world problems.
It was bad. It was really bad. And so then I turned to Akshay. I go, Akshay, tell me a ghost story. And he's like, I don't know any ghost stories. I was like, they don't have ghost stories in India? He's like, they probably do, but I don't know any. I'm like, oh, God, we are so boring. And so then, what did we do? We went back to our phones. And then he's like, here, give me your phone. And then he put it on the low battery, saver. And I was like, well, why are you using my phone? Why don't you use your phone? I need my phone. I mean, it was bad. And then I just said, just go to bed. Go to bed. Just go to bed.
So you're admitting now if the zombie apocalypse ever happened, you would be worthless.
First one dead.
Yeah. Okay, great.
I would be the first
followed
to
by
go.
your husband. Followed by your husband. That's
Exactly.
what we're learning tonight. Great.
Exactly. Obama, our dog, would be the only one to survive.
Yeah, exactly.
And of course, I knew when all the power came on, because Obama starts screaming at 5:30 in the morning because all the power comes on. He thinks someone's in the house. He's running around the house yelling, going, "Who's there? Who's there?"
Yeah. Sounds about right. That sounds about right.
Yeah. How are you? How's Egypt?
It's still here. It's Egypting. It's doing what it's doing.
Wow. Is it still tar?
It's still tar. It is.
For our new listeners, what is tar?
Tar is the smell of Cairo specifically. Tobacco, armpit, and rotisserie chicken. Tar.
Yes. Coco Chanel's latest fragrance, tar.
Indeed. Yeah.
It's actually more of an Alexander McQueen fragrance, I think. Well, he's one of the greats.
He was. Yes, he was.
He's one of the greats, and to tell you the truth, it's real education because apparently the Alexander McQueen question at the quiz night last night at my cousin's quiz night was the winning question, and they knew the answer because of me and my coffee table book.
So you are worth something to somebody. If nothing else, you can win a quiz night.
But see, Adam, I love the icons.
Yeah,
I love the icons.
you do.
Know?
You like to surround yourself with them. Yes.
I like the ones that are moving and shaking and know what's going on and actually have an impact on the world.
Indeed.
You know, like Juilliard.
Yes.
The impact that school has had on the world.
It's true. It is true.
Okay, give me 3 examples. 3 examples of the impact of Juilliard on the world.
Well, where do I begin? Come on now. You give 3 examples.
No, I asked you first.
Come on.
Okay, I'll give you one. Robin Williams,
Yes.
Viola Davis,
Yes. Kevin
Kevin Kline.
I was going to say Kevin Kline. Yes.
That's my 3. Now, what are your 3?
Well, Kevin Kline was going to be.
No. Yeah, I've already got that one. I already got that one.
Because I was thinking, because I know that they talk about them in class 1 or whatever so they're bunches of people. So I like those numbers. Anthony Mackie.
Oh yeah.
What's his name? I can't remember his last name. This is gonna be so embarrassing. I think, but he was
horrible.
I know he was in the same class with Anthony Mackie though. Lee.
Kevin Spacey.
Okay. Not who I was thinking of, but God, what's his name?
Audrey McDowell.
I hate that you have put me on the spot like this. I hate you.
Miles Davis.
What? Okay.
Nina Simone. Come on, Adam.
I'm not keeping up with the music divisions. I thought we were doing drama division.
I said Juilliard. I said
fine.
Juilliard.
Fine, Yo-Yo Ma. if we're going down that track, fine.
Cornice Quartet.
Right, exactly. There you go.
That's our new game. We battle. We go, how many Juilliard graduates can you name?
I'm not playing that game.
Okay, well, we don't have to play the game, but because we have a really special guest today, though.
We do, and I'm glad that we're finally getting to the guest and not playing this abysmal game.
That's because you're bad at it and you're embarrassing yourself. I'm sorry. I don't mean to embarrass you in front of our guest. I'm sorry. I don't mean to embarrass you in front of company.
Thanks. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, no problem. Listen, everyone, we have an amazing guest today. I'm so excited. They were able to find this little hour to have a conversation with us in their very, very busy schedule. Let me give them a proper introduction. Ladies and gentlemen and non-binary conforming individuals, please, please, please welcome to our family, Yionoulis. She is an Obie Award winning director and nationally recognized teacher of acting, is Juilliard's Richard Rodgers Dean and Director of the Drama Division. She came to Juilliard after 20 years on the faculty of Yale School of Drama, where she was a professor in the practice of acting and directing. And Lloyd Richards, my teacher as well, chair of the Department of Acting from 1998 to 2003. And that was a really important time, y'all. Evan did some really amazing stuff when she was in that position for such a small time. But what ended up happening was it changed the whole trajectory of what an acting cohort looks like today. She really brought back the diversity into those spaces. And it's because of her that we have such great, talented people of color coming out of these major institutions. So please, everyone, please, please, please welcome our friend and colleague, Yionoulis, to the Theater Brothers podcast. Yay!
Hey, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, Evan, thank you for giving us your time. It's so good to see you.
Great to see you. Across the continent.
Yeah, exactly. Thank God for Zoom, I swear. It's like, At least we can at least see each other and talk to each other now. You know, it's like before it was like on the phone. It was like, when's a good time for you? So, Evan, I have a question. This is the question I like to ask when the greats come and visit us. What is your definition of a great actor?
No pressure.
Yeah, I know. I mean, a great actor is somebody who can really embody another human being and listen with their ears and speak with their voice. And there, that comes in many shapes and sizes and styles, and all of that. But I would say that's the main thing that I look for, that transformational piece.
I love that. I mean, that's so simple and so difficult all at once, right?
Yeah.
Like conceptually, and it resonates really clearly. But because of our culture, we have so many masks that we wear, and the concept of the identity of our voice, in general, just our voice, let alone our body, right? It's all over the place. So, and just from my I have inside knowledge. So I know that voice is a very important part of the training at Juilliard. Can you give us, because we have a lot of listeners that are looking at training and looking at grad school. Can you give us just a kind of an idea of like the philosophy around the training a Juilliard actor?
Yeah, I mean, for me, we want to give our actors classroom experiences and rehearsal and performance experiences that will allow them to develop their instruments, which is voice, body, mind, spirit, imagination. All of those things are part of the instrument, not just the voice and the body. So we and at there's one of the things that's so beautiful about being an actor is that there's no age cap on that. It was wonderful. I was just before I came here, we had a community meeting, and there was an actor from Group 1. And of course, we have actors now through Group 55.
Yeah.
And it was amazing to see that continuity. And so I was almost going to say something about, after 4 years, dot, dot, dot. And of course, acting is a lifetime thing. So after 4 years, you have processes started that then you can build on for the rest of your artistic life. But we want to give actors as much of a jump on all of those things so that their instruments are ready to take them where their imagination is going to lead and where life experience is going to lead them to be able to understand different characters. And if they can develop, I feel like we just started and I'm digressing, but I heard
Digress.
I heard something on NPR about the training of long snappers, which are apparently something in football.
Yes.
And
Yes.
What's a long snapper?
these are the people who snap the ball to the person who's going to kick it for the return
Yes.
or
Okay.
something.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And they're a specialized person. Their only job is to do that one thing on the team. Yeah.
And they come in and they get the ball from somebody and they put it through their legs to the person who's going to kick it. And they were talking about developing this in very, very young people before their bodies have matured. But if they got the form of it when they're in middle school, then when they've got all the muscles and their, thigh muscles and their arm muscles are fully developed, that the form will be muscle memory for them. And so, I think of acting as an exchange of energy. You're receiving energy from the world and you're throwing it back out, targeted from your partner. So if you develop that ability to listen to what's out there in the world to listen to really receive that honestly through your instrument, and then to play it back to someone, and you're listening for what you need. Am I getting it? And then I'm going to throw action at you. If you get that, and that cycle going, and you eliminate tension in the body through the Alexander technique and your movement, and you clear the channel of the voice, and you understand where your tongue tip is supposed to be, or your alveolar ridge, and we're talking about speech in completely different ways now in terms of what is your idiolect, and where do you put your tongue, and where do you have your soft palate, and where is your voice placed in terms of resonances. And then if we're going to shift so that, if you want to sound like me, then you want to find where I do all of those things so that you can sound like me. And if I want to transform into you, or if I want to transform into, whatever the character is, so that we really, that there's no one way that people speak. There's no one way that people move. But there is, for an actor, a way of clearing that channel so that all that transformation is possible. So through the training, we want to start putting those things into place, that as people continue to have more life experience, they get more practice reading plays, they get more sense of what it is that humans need, which is what characters need. All of those things, that the muscle memory, that exchange of energy, that truthful exchange of energy, is something that will be there for them forever.
Evan, you just dropped the gauntlet. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And what I love about it is, while I'm listening to you, I'm literally falling into exactly what you're saying. I'm receiving all the energy. I'm falling into the scene. This is a wonderful scene we're having, and it's the embodiment as a teacher. It's just so powerful to be in a space with you, because you clearly have embodied this knowledge that you're talking about, that you want to impart on students. For our teachers out there, can you talk a little bit about your practice as a teacher and the embodiment of your work?
Well, I don't know. I do know that I was so extremely fortunate to be able to be in the classroom a lot. And I think that, we all learn from our teachers, and then we start learning from our students, and start learning from trying to help them. So I started teaching high school and college students in Yale summer programs, which I did for about a decade every summer. I was a freelance director for the rest of the year, and a temp typist, and some others, the copy girl, and those kind of things as well, as a freelance director. And then I would come and I would teach every summer, and seeing those scenes and looking, and I co-taught for many years with Mark Brokaw, who's a wonderful director and teacher, and we were teaching actors to find, what their character needs, what their objective is, and we would go to dinner every night before scene study class, and we would try to figure out what the characters in the plays that we were teaching that night needed from each other. So I would say to both teachers and actors, practice, practice, practice. And now I can see a monologue that I don't know anything about the play, the character, or whatever, but you can do your monologue for me, and I can pretty much tell you a playable objective, something that character needs. And then I think it's I think that what we're trying to teach actors is really listening, and I guess teaching them to allow themselves to listen, because you can't teach listening, but you have to get you have to make sure that the actor doesn't get away with that facsimile of talking that is rampant. So how do you get them to really listen? How do you help them direct their attention to stimuli which are going to provoke something in them? and that you're really listening to what's happening in your classroom. What is the scene in front of you? So not what the scene would be if you were to direct it and make it great, but what is happening between these two humans, these two actor humans, and what is happening between these two character humans, and how can you connect those in some way? And I think by letting actors do a lot, by not talking a lot in class, let's talk and see, my students know in my practice, I'm going to ask, who are you and what do you need? And any day you come into my class, don't be surprised when those are the questions that I'm asking, because those are the questions that I ask. And we start there. And once they can articulate something, this is after I see the whole scene, then we start working on things. So, I've been very fortunate to work with students who ask terrific questions, who completely raise the bar all the time for themselves, for me, for each other. As my husband says, we're not old, we've just been doing this for a long time.
I love that. I love that. Because this is a really great segue into my next question about who's in front of you, who's in the space. Can you talk to us about your mission, your mission on diversity of cohort? Because I know that you've done a huge change in the industry for that, and I would love to hear what was the impetus. What was like, well, we've got to do it. What made you go, I'm going to do it?
I'm in New York, one of the greatest cities in the world. And, when you go on the subway, you see a variety of people there with a wealth of stories. And those stories need to be told. They need to be told in the theater. And those stories require all kinds of people to tell those stories. I think it was not hard to diversify programs because there are wonderful young people who come in and have a spark and have a desire to tell that. So it really, after a while, I think, a training program has to have diversity in order to attract diversity. So, and once there is diversity to attract diversity, then we have no trouble making any diverse classes anymore. Everyone, people, all different kinds of people come to us, all sorts of wonderful intersectional identities of race and ethnicity and language and, from all around the globe, and gender identities and ability. And I think once those people start coming, then it's very easy to pick a class which has a lot of diversity in it. And then you have to make a space where those people feel that they belong, that they can bring those identities, that we can talk about those identities, and then we have to choose plays in the classroom and on stage that allow them to, act characters who are from their backgrounds, and also to transform into to other characters that may not have been written for their background, and to say that you can do whatever you. One of the people we had on this panel was Wendell Pierce, who just played Willie Loman in Death of a Salesman in London and on Broadway. And it was very interesting to hear the different generations. So, there's some generations of actors who want to play more things that are written for people from their backgrounds by people from their backgrounds. And there are some people who say, why should this person's experience be closed to me because it was originally written for a different demographic. So that's what we're about, and trying to give enough different kinds of opportunities so people can really grow and then be ready for whatever they choose once they get out of school.
I love that. I love that you just said that it's not difficult. That's it's, there's just so much language around. Oh, it's so difficult. The word, and that's not difficult.
It's not difficult
at all.
No.
Have you had any challenges with faculty, different types of faculty that get stuck in their ways of seeing what a cohort should look like and what an actor in drama school should look like?
No, I haven't. I haven't really. I think both at Yale and at Juilliard, I have really found people who were very much with the program
I love it.
of diversifying. I do think some of the challenges for people who've been teaching a long time is the plays that they grew up with or know so well that they have to diversify, what examples one uses in class, so that it's not, and and for people who can quote full plays of Ibsen or Shakespeare or whatever. And I started in my classes to do sort of think of things in suites. So, for example, SUITES. So when I do a unit on Brecht and what's the story of the scene, we also work on Susan Laurie Park's plays and Luis Valdez's plays, or so that there are a lot of different writers coming in to talk about this particular thing. And in all of our classes, when in voice and speech class, when you bring in a poem, it's our faculty brings in poems from around the world, and then if someone, if you're doing Neruda and someone knows it in the original language, they can speak it. I mean, I was in one class the other day and people were counting to 10, and the teacher was pointing out, okay, you do it in French, and you do it, in Italian, and you do it in Ukrainian, and you do it. So there's a wonderful sharing and a learning from each other that can happen.
Oh, do you hear that, teachers? You have no excuse now.
Yeah.
You have no excuse now.
You've never had an excuse, but for now, for sure, you definitely don't have an excuse anymore.
But it's really,
not difficult, and you need to do the work.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
I like that description of saying Brecht and then Susan Laurie Parks and Louis Valdez. I mean, obviously it's a conversation, and if it's only Brecht, then it's a playwright that I cannot ever meet, I cannot ever work with, I cannot have a conversation with. But Susan Laurie Parks is still working, Louis Valdez is still working, and they're making work that is phenomenal and speaking to my experience and to my contemporaneity. And so I can understand Brecht better because I can understand this. And I can understand this because I can understand Brecht. I love that. And that's exactly how it should be. It should be a conversation. If we're going to teach Shakespeare, we got to teach insert.
Well, I like to do Shakespeare with Wole Soyinka.
Exactly.
Because
I know you're
he hits the same parts of the body.
Yeah. And we're doing a lot. We're doing Soyinka in doing some of the Bacchi in speech and voice class, and I do the Strong Breed and Lion and the Jewel and some others in my scene study class too, which is, I wish we could do
Death and the King's Horseman.
Right. Put like all four classes together and do Death and the King's Horseman.
Yeah, right. That would be amazing. I would fly to New York if Juilliard did an all four class, all three class.
Yeah, 72 actors.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to put that bee in your bonnet. You let me know when it happens. I love that. So okay. Question: If I'm a young actor, and I'm looking for undergraduate, and I want to apply or get ready or prepare myself so I'm ready for an audition for Juilliard or thinking about going to Juilliard. What are your suggestions for beginning the journey of preparation for an audition for undergraduate?
Um, I think I'll talk about pick. I mean, I'll talk about picking pieces in a minute. But I think you need to think about: do you want to go to a conservatory first, or do you want to get a liberal arts education first and do theater, and then maybe go to grad school later if you're still interested. I think it's very difficult to be 17 years old and know what you want to do for the rest of your life. And even if you choose to go to a BFA program such as ours, so just for if younger people are listening, a BFA program is a conservatory program. You are eating, sleeping, breathing drama, voice, speech, movement from 9 in the morning till 9 at night or beyond. So that's a particular thing. And we have wonderful liberal arts courses as well, but it's really, you're immersed in that world. And you're not, it's not a college experience. Like, you're not sitting on the grass in the afternoons reading a book under a tree.
Oh, the privilege of sitting on grass.
I know, right? Which I did in I remember reading Cervantes under some tree over spring break. Well, I wasn't doing it during the term, but okay. All right. I busted myself. But at any rate, but it's an intensive thing. It's a physical thing. It has a lot. It's a lot of requirement, emotional. You're bringing your emotional life to these characters. It's uses every aspect of yourself. And so just to make sure you know what the difference is, and to know this is what you want, and also to know that whatever you choose, you haven't chosen the thing for all time. And that I always tell everyone who auditions, there are many paths to becoming an actor. And some of that is studying at Juilliard or another place, and some of it's learning on the job, and some of it's having a life and a family and coming back to it. I mean, there are many, many paths, and people should really remember that. And that your goal is to be a storyteller and to tell stories by embodying other human beings. And your goal should not be to go to Juilliard. Your goal is to be an actor. Is to be an actor. And when you think of it that way, there are many things that can do that. And if it's to touch people with stories, there are many ways to touch people with stories that don't involve being professional actors. So, to really, I always think of that way because I teach, who are you and what do you need? And what you need can be, many plot objectives will fulfill your underlying objectives, many different ones. But if you want to come to to Juilliard or a program like Juilliard, you want to find at least 4 pieces, but 6 pieces. If you want to be an actor, you shouldn't just have 2 pieces that you like. So find pieces that you love and that you connect with on some level, on any level, and choose them early, and really do all your work on that part. Do not. I got my master's in directing, but when I went, we had to do pieces, acting
Oh,
pieces.
wow. They made you act.
Yeah, because we had to be in all the acting classes, so I guess they wanted, somebody who could put words together or something, or I don't know, because they accepted me anyway. But I spent my entire time looking for a piece, not working on a piece. I was changing my piece. I changed my piece 5 million times before, rather than find something that's not the piece that you're going to go down. Nobody's going to I hope nobody's going to put it on YouTube. This is a piece
Yeah.
for you to be in the room with
Yeah.
somebody
Yeah.
and get to know that character and think of who you're talking to and what you need from them and do all the imaginative work of who that person is, where they come from, all of those things, um, and and maybe that show different sides of who you could be, different kinds of people that you might be interested in embodying, and then come to share it and to work on it. I will say something about, I think it's important to do your pieces in front of a human being and not the first time when you're in a room. But you really, I would advise people against getting coached within an inch of their lives. Just get in front of somebody and do it so you're not scared to have an imaginary partner when there are other humans in the room. But we're not looking, at school, we're not looking for, are we going to cast you in that play right now? We're looking for potential. We're looking for a glimmer. We're looking for sometimes just a moment of real truth and real connection with that person. We're looking for appetite. We're looking for, do you have passion? Do you seem to want to be doing this? Do you have a body that's trainable and a voice that you care enough to send breath through your vocal folds to reach somebody? So those are the things we're looking. We're not looking for, did you land this joke, or
Everett, come on.
if you make us laugh, it's always good. But that's not what we're looking for.
You're not looking for the shtick.
Did not make me laugh. Reject wholeheartedly.
Okay, so in the same vein, let's talk about the graduate school, because your graduate program is different than other graduate programs. So you can talk about how special your graduate school is.
Yeah, our graduate program is different first because it's a 4-year program, and because the MFA and BFA students study together. The BFA students take liberal arts courses. Our graduate students take master's seminars. They start with a seminar in global cinema, film grammar, and theory.
Wow.
Then they take a
I
wonderful
want to take that class.
story course in developing stories based on characters, which then they develop for a second term. That could be a play, that could be a web series, that could be a feature film, that could be, anything, a VR something. It could be anything, just developing a story. They take a directing class, they take a pedagogy class, they take elements of producing. So they have those classes, but then they take voice, speech, movement, scene study, everything with the undergraduate actors, which we think brings another level of diversity of experience. And to tell people we have it, the BFA versus the MFA is basically, did you get a BA already? If you did, you're going to get a master's. If you didn't, you'll get the BA. So we have 30-year-old BFAs and 21-year-old MFAs.
Wow.
So the other thing is the 4-year aspect of that. So we have 3 complete years of immersing yourself in the training and not thinking about getting out of school. At the end of we believe in the theater, and I believe that part of keeping the theater alive is to allow actors to earn a living, and that may mean film and television, and that there are wonderful roles that they can play, that acting is acting. But we're, and of course, many of our graduates from group 1 to group 50 or whatever are film stars, of course, without having done a bit of film at Juilliard. But Now we have an acting on camera class, which is an acting class on camera, not just an auditioning class on camera, to learn how to transfer all of that work on given circumstances and embodiment. Now that you've got all of that, how do you tell a story visually, and how do you read for what is to be acted? And then at the beginning of our fourth year, we really concentrate on